Good early afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, crypto traders around the world. We got another update from some news. I purposely try to avoid telescam as much as possible, but I have no choice but to go there because unfortunately these cryptos don't seem to want to do a better job of communication than telescam. So I have to go there and I have to cover what happened. So as of yesterday, you might have seen prior, I did the coverage about the devs or whoever giving access to some duck-faced girl of a major wallet for a green chart. Apparently, what we're hearing now is that they were able to get the Apparently, this is worse. Like they had given access to the full contract, and they transferred the owner wallet. It's a weird thing, but apparently they were able to get it all back. So then they were able to restore it back to where it was prior to this issue. Price is still not there, but I'm saying in terms of having a liquidity, having active volume, things are moving positive. They were able to get things back on track, and then it seems like they did some buybacks, but they also did some donations from some of the admins, and some of the devs were just chipping in to try to save it. It's very similar actually to what I believe was Floki V2. I'll have to check with Believes on that one, but I believe it was V2 where the community in general had chipped in and put their money in to kind of put it back to a place. So the downside, of course, is that the same people who failed it, or at least some of them, are still involved in the project. Because as I said, if this was a regular business, heads would roll. You'd see people out the door. So I don't know at this point if it's worth the trust, because the trust has been damaged by the fact that it happened in the first place. But I think the main person who was responsible for it is out of the way. The problem is when you see something like this, you're not sure if there's going to be anything that you can really trust them on going forward, unless they were to do a new contract to mitigate this kind of a problem in the future, just like Floki had to do after they had their second, I'm pretty sure it was, rug pull. Like, to me, if I were in that room, and I'm not talking telescam, I'm talking whatever admins and talking about this. If I were in there, I would tell them, okay, folks, this is time we need to get something fixed on this contract, because we shouldn't be able to have that kind of thing happen. No one person should be allowed to do what we're talking about here. This is damaging to the project. It's damaging to reputation. It's damaging to crypto. As of right now, the liquidity is in a reasonably healthy state. I wouldn't say it's in a great healthy state. It's in a reasonably healthy state. It is trading pretty strong. There's a lot of strong buys because a lot of people bought back into it because it had dipped. So they're buying back off the dip, and that's fine. That's what you should really do as long as it's a healthy state. My only stance is I'm not sure that I would advocate trusting them with my money, given that this failure happened. And that's not to say that they don't pull it out and they turn out to be solid. I'm saying that from a tokenomics perspective, the contract itself, that means that there's a huge risk in the contract that really should be resolved before I would advocate giving my money back to it, because the same thing could happen. Now, they could come back and say, no more duck face, deep, 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 but I can't trust it because you did the first time. Like, do you see what I'm saying? So they seem like they're nice people. They seem like they care enough with giving up their own money to kind of put it back to a normal state. I'm saying that personally, and I only speak personally, you got to make up your own decision. I think the trust has been harmed, and it's bad. That's why I was so bothered by it, because it's like, why would you do that? Why would you allow it to happen? And how is it that your contract allows that to happen? So let's do this. If anybody on Green Chart hears this update, and tell you what, I'll even share it in Telegram, because I would love to hear. I'd love to hear from them. If anybody hears this, here's the thing, folks. I would recommend you reach out to the Everrise folks and get on their EverOwn tool so that it can restrict the contract so that you can't do these kinds of things. And then I would make sure all of your liquidity is completely locked down so that you avoid this and don't even allow them to get tempted by another duck-faced girl coming across your deal. And I understand that you felt, it's a reputable business. It wasn't, but you felt like it was. You had all the best sentiments. The bottom line is, again, this kind of thing is a black eye on crypto in general, but certainly you, because you're dealing with something where you're validating why is it that you don't have a renounced, even if it's under EverOwn, which allows you to unlock as needed. So you still have the control of the thing, but it's not this absolute catastrophe that we just dealt with. And just for kicks, I went ahead and ran it through Market Move, which is the tool marketmove.ai that I recommend. And everything looks decent, good. I don't see anything that's red flag, other than, of course, that the ownership's not renounced, which caused this fiasco. And the fact that the top 10 holders have about 12% of the supply, that's not crazy bad, because I think enough trust was harmed that this kind of thing shouldn't happen. But I'm concerned about the fact that it reports that the liquidity is locked. This seems to indicate that the liquidity may be partially locked and not totally locked, because if I'm looking at it, it says 99% roughly of the supply is locked. Well, if that's true, how is it possible that this duckface was able to drain it like that? So something's weird with the way the wallets are staged, and I suspect it's a different liquidity pool that's the primary liquidity pool, and they basically did a burn for this 99%, but it was 99% of a different supply. I'm not sure. So green chat, folks, it appears like you're back up and running. It appears like you were able to set things back right, which is better than what Titano's got going on. So kudos for that one, Hercules. But I would strongly recommend, and listen, if you want to come on the show, I want the smoke, but I would strongly recommend at minimum you take a look at EverOwn, because I think it would behoove you to reconsider your ownership and your entitlements and everything around this to prevent that kind of thing from happening, because from your community's sentiment, you had a lot of pissed off people. And to avert this happening again from any other dev getting tempted by duckface girls, I would recommend you consider EverOwn, that will allow you to restrict the contract as needed. And the only reason that you would open the contract is when everybody agrees that it's worth doing, because you have to justify why you're doing it. That way, you're showing good faith. You're showing them that, look, we understand we almost screwed up, and we want to do a better job, and we looked at this tool. I highly recommend it. ETH Fan Token got on there. It seems like it's working for them as well. So I would advocate you take a look at it. Once again, though, if you want to come on the show, I want that smoke, because I've wanted to talk to you since I first covered it.